Resurgent India Knowledge Series presents live webinar on Empowering MSMEs Boosting Exports and Financial Aid. Moderator Mr. K. Gupta, Director, Resurgent India Limited. Eminent speakers Mr. Ramananu Ramanathan, Founder Mission Director, Atal Innovation Mission and former Additional Secretary Niti Aayog. CA Shipra Rungata, Founder of ProFinFlix, Consultants and Consulting CFO to MSMEs. Mr. Rahul Goyal, RSM, Axis Finance.
Good evening, friends. I am your host, K. Gupta here. I am a director in Resurgent India. You are aware that Resurgent India is a merchant banker and investment bankers. And mostly we are holding such type of virtual webinar every week. So we have completed about 230 webinars under the banner of the Resurgent India. And we are also one association for financial advisor of India, where I am also a director of that, and for which the members are participating, and we have more than 500 members with us. So every week, on your request, we are holding such webinar. Today webinar is a very special webinar because you will listen to important personality of Niti Aayog, and who is a chairperson, board member, advisor, strategy, innovation, growth consultant, founder, mission director. Above all, the Atal, our Vajpayee sir, Atal Innovation Missions, and former additional secretary, Niti Aayog, former CEO, CMC, SBP, TCS, and also aluminum of IIT Bombay. He is a great personality with us. So I think you listen to him because he is a facilitator for the SME sector, for the startup and policy makers for that. So we are really, on behalf of Resurgent India and Association for Financial Advisors, thankful to him, particularly who agreed to address you. So friends, the subject is very important. Empowering MSME, boosting export and financial aid. With technology advancements, a reversed government policy set a promising backdrop for the future. The nation trade deficit showed a significant improvement, decreasing by 35.7% from US dollar 131.62 billion in the financial year 23 to 78.12 billion in financial year 24. 24 financial year is very, very important for the Indian economy, where our export has grown like anything. So we are discussing why the exports are important for us. And government, during this budget, financial year budget, come out so many concession for the SME sector. Either you talk about the credit guarantee, which they will cover to the manufacturing sector, 100 crore rupees, 100 crore credit given by any lenders will have a coverage for that. Then they also come out very important novel scheme of new model assessment based on the cash flow lending, and also it advise the banker let on the basis of the digital platforms, let they should assess their own. Instead of asking from a third party, let they should develop their own platform where they can collect the data. Because data is today is are available. When you are talking about GST, when you are talking of the customs, you do even from the account statement of the quality, you can have the balance sheet and the profit and loss accounts. The government had the right directions. Certain banks, I already introduced that system of the cash flow lending, based on cash flow lending. Then they also come out with doing stress assets. Government is also telling that the credit support should be given to a SME sector who is in a stress. Mundra loan, you know, that is a small loans. The expansion of debt, that is also important issue here. Debt scheme, which facilitate the exporters, which facilitate the our SME sector to get the receivable. That is also scheme reported. That is four to a food related SME sectors. There are so many things. I'm not taking much time because we are a very eminent personality with us. So I'm coming to this first of all, I'm coming to respected our great visionary, great thinker, and who was the former additional secretary of Niti Ayog. Sir, I have no word to express our gratitude, sir, for sparing your times. And within a minute, you are agreed to address us. I will not ask any question from you. I am only asking, sir, how the innovation, how the sustainability, how the quality is helping the other exporters, sir. And what do you feel? Because you are the government of India, are a hell of a fair of that. How the government is supporting to give our exporter the benefit. Let the our export should we go. We are talking about one district, one product. We are talking about so many things. Stand up India, startup India. So many things we are talking about. Now I am not talking anything, sir, except talking to you only, sir. So I request your good self, sir. Please give at least boost to our entrepreneur who are listening to you. Sir, my more than 600 entrepreneurs are listening to you beside the YouTube, sir, electronic media. And people are very encouraging to listen to you, sir. So I'm really thankful to you. Please, please, give your thoughts, sir. Give your thoughts, sir. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, Mr. Gupta, for that very generous introduction. And it is indeed a pleasure and a privilege for me to be able to talk to you all, spend some time reflecting on what the opportunities are, what the landscape is of the Indian landscape, and especially the MSME landscape. We are, after all, a country of 1.3 billion people. We have in India more than 65% of our country under 35 years old. So we are one of the youngest countries of the world. And everybody knows that we enjoy what is called as the demographic dividend, which is a youthful country and which is the envy of many other countries. And why this youthful dividend or demographic dividend is important is for multiple reasons. One, it represents the aspiring demand that this country is going to generate over the next decade or the next 15 to 20 years. We already have 250 to 300 million people as a part of the middle class rising economy. But the beauty of India is that in the next 15 to 20 years, you're going to add another 350 million people to this middle class rising economy. Now, that represents a demand which is not found in many other parts of the world. And that's why you're seeing a whole lot of countries interested in India, building business relationships with India, looking at how to tap this burgeoning market, this market which has so many possibilities. And therefore, this is a unique time in the history of our country and in the growth of our country. The second important point is we are also one of the fastest growing economies of the world. We have been growing at between 7 to 8%. We are going to grow between 8 to 10% over the next couple of years based upon all the initiatives that is happening in the government as well as in the private sector. Now that represents a very important part in the support of MSMEs and in the support of innovation and in the support of new products and services and solutions that are going to be launched into the marketplace. And the third very important factor is we're living in a world where technology is becoming affordable, accessible, available, and advanced. You have 3D printing revolutionizing the way you are able to conceptualize, design, define a product right in front of your eyes from your own garage, from your kirana store, from your house, or from your small lab in the school. In fact, the Atal Innovation Mission, where I have been involved in over the last 6-7 years, we have created 10,000 tinkering labs where 3D printing, robotics, IoT, miniaturized electronics, augmented reality, virtual reality, do-it-yourself kits are being introduced to the young students in schools between grade 6 to grade 12. And these students are having a chance to tinker with these technologies because these are the technologies of tomorrow. All the solutions that are being built today are being built on these technologies. And if our children and our school students do not know how to operate with these technologies or do not learn the art of problem solving and innovative thinking, then we will be left behind. So even at a school level, we have introduced tinkering labs. And then in the universities, incubators have been set up. And these incubators are fostering the growth of the SME market, the growth of startups. Today, if you see the latest report that has been published by the Startup India as well as by IIT Madras, a combination of IIT Madras and IIM Bangalore, in that report, we have more than 1,100 incubators in our country. It all started off just 7 years ago when the Atal Innovation Mission was formed. And then many other initiatives, many other government units decided that they will also adopt many of the models that we have. So we're living in one of the fastest growing startup ecosystems in the world. India is the third largest startup ecosystem in the world as compared to any other country. And this is in the period of 6 to 7 years. Now, why is innovation and entrepreneurship so very important? We have, like I said, we have 1.4 billion people, and that represents a tremendous demand. And the demand is not only to be able to take these people to the next decade, but to be able to provide them a number of jobs and jobs that are relevant to the marketplace, jobs that require new technologies like AI and 3D printing and robotics and sensor technologies. And so you need to prepare them for all of this. Second is, it is very important for us to understand that we should not just be a nation of job seekers, because that is not a sustainable proposition for India. We need to create a nation of job creators. And who create the jobs? It is all MSMEs or the startups which are coming up, which are going to be the new job creators. And why? If you take 10 years ago or 15 years ago, during the time when I was growing up, or many of you, like Mr. Gupta, we all grew up. We grew up in an environment where there were a few companies and we had few options. We all wanted to educate ourselves well, get into a good job, get some good university, go to a good university, get good marks, and then go to another university abroad or maybe in India, and then get a good job with a Tata company or government or IBM or Google and so on and so forth. So we were naturally tuned for job seeking. But today, the opportunity for India and the imperative need for India is to go into greater job creation. And what more is capable of doing that than by empowering the MSME and the startup market? So this topic that we are all discussing is so very relevant. If we want to carry the 1.4 billion people forward, we have to be able to empower the MSME market and the startup market. And it is with this vision that the Atal Innovation Mission was formed. And I got the opportunity, I was blessed to have the opportunity to be its first mission director. Now, the idea is, one, create a problem-solving, innovative mindset in our young people, because they are the people who are joining. We have 1.4 million schools in our country. We have 10,500 engineering and related institutions. We have 39,000 colleges. We have 150 million young students who are going to be entering into the workplace over the next 5 to 10 years. And we want to equip them with the latest knowledge of technology with which they can create solutions or they can become more productive. And therefore, this initiative of Atal Innovation Mission was, one, creating this problem-solving, innovative mindset. Many of our MSMEs are doing things which have been done before, but can they innovate? today our industry is importing a lot of electronics which need not be imported. They're importing a lot of goods which need not be imported. They can be made in India. And therefore, innovation, entrepreneurship, make in India, all of these are converging together to create that vibrant ecosystem in India, which is going to promote and empower MSMEs and startups to be able to create the products and services that India needs. Forget about the rest of the world. India needs that over the next 10 to 15 years. And anything that is solved in India, and that is a solution in India, becomes also a solution for the rest of the world. So that is a great opportunity for MSMEs, not just to address the Indian market by creating products and services which we are either importing or which are not leveraging technology today, and creating those products and services and being able to position it for the growth of the Indian market and for the demands of the overseas market. And so you see, we are therefore a number of initiatives, companies, departments like the Niti Aayog has launched Atal Innovation Mission, but you also have the Department of Science and Technology. They have launched several hundred incubators in universities across the country. What do these incubators do? They foster 25 to 30 startups every 2 years. As a result of this, today we are having more than 117,000 startups in our country. You all know, and all of you are aware, that there are more than 4.7 crore MSMEs, lakh crores MSMEs in our country. So MSMEs represent 40% of the population of our country who are working in MSMEs. That's a very sizable population. And if you don't, and if we empower them with the tools for innovation and entrepreneurship and funding schemes and grants, that many of which Mr. K.K. Gupta just laid out before he introduced me, those are the grants and those are the schemes through which you are also encouraging through production-linked incentives, through Digital India schemes. You are now able to provide an MSME with the tools that is required for him to integrate innovation, to integrate entrepreneurship, and for new entrepreneurs to come to the scene. So what is happening now as a result of it? Take, for example, the Department of Biotechnology. The Department of Biotechnology is encouraging startups, more than 10,000 startups in the area of healthcare, pharma, telemedicine. These are all MSMEs and startups which are coming up in this area to address the needs of India in terms of healthcare, as well as preventive medicine, curative medicine, assistive technologies, medtech technologies, sensor-based technologies, wearable technologies. These are all small companies and small startups and small MSMEs that are sprouting up through these incubators. And these incubators are supporting the MSMEs or the startups in the valleys of death, as they call. Every startup goes through a life cycle, and in that life cycle, there are various valleys of death. What are these valleys of death? Because you don't have the right venture capital support, you don't have the right mentoring support, you don't have the right technology support, you don't have the right business plan, or you don't know how to create the business plan because you have not been formally educated. Many of the MSMEs are entrepreneurs who have a good idea, but who do not know or are not aware of the formality of doing market analysis, market research, in order to be able to push their product and service. And so we need to ensure that these incubators are able to provide that necessary support to bridge those valleys of death, so that you don't fall into that valley of death and you become successful. And so today we have 1,100 incubators supported by DSD, the Department of Science and Technology, the Department of Biotechnology, by METI, the Manufacturing of Electronics and Industrial Technology Group in the government. We also have tremendous opportunities in defense and space. You know that we have one of the most innovative space companies in the world, ISRO. ISRO has opened up its innovation in collaboration with the private sector, so that MSMEs can manufacture components and they can manufacture parts related to space technology, related to missile technology, and so on. And there is, space and railways are two examples where you need a whole lot of convergence of lot of technologies, from material science to electronics to software to hardware. All of these have to come together in order to make this sector successful. And our defense has also opened up through innovations of defense excellence. Those of you who are not familiar with the opportunities in defense, please refer to the website of defense and look for IDEX, IDEX, which is Innovations for Defense Excellence. Now, Innovation for Defense Excellence has allowed startups who have, or MSMEs who have products that can be leveraged by defense, whether it is drone technology or whether it is military, airfare, warfare, or surveillance technologies, and so on. These are all enabling us to become more and more safe and secure. And it is also giving a lot of startups, private sector, to collaborate with the government in order to do that. So we are living in a world where innovation is playing a central role in the growth of our country, and it will continue to play a central role in the continued growth of our country. And I just want to end this portion, and I'll go for the next question. And that is, we are a country with 650,000 villages. We have 715 districts in our country, out of which 115 are called aspirational districts because they are at the bottom of the pyramid in terms of basic access to healthcare, education, clean drinking water, sanitation, waste management, affordable housing, infant mortality, maternal mortality, and so on. They are at that level. These are challenges that our country has. But every challenge is now an opportunity for an entrepreneur, for an MSME, to be able to address and not only make money because of the demand that is there to solve this problem, but also to be able to provide societal good. What we need in India is socio-economic approach. Society grows and economic activities also grow. And they are not contrary to each other. They both actually support each other. All of us are aware of the bottom of the pyramid approach by Prahlad, who said that India affords the bottom of the pyramid approach towards growth. So it is the Kirana stores of this country which is actually keeping commerce alive in our country. And now the government's Digital India initiatives, the ability for you to transact from any point of the country to any point in the world, to make your product or service available from Sikkim to Seattle, or from Salem to San Francisco, or from Jodhpur to Japan. We have now that ability because of e-commerce, because of cloud connectivity, and you are now able to reach any part of the world. And that's what Digital India has enabled. And Digital India has also enabled mobile payment revolution, which is unlike anywhere else in the world. Because the focus of India and the government has been, how do I enable digital public infrastructure? And if I enable digital public infrastructure, then MSMEs and startups are now able to tap this Digital India network to reach across to any part of the world, and it makes for them payments and transactions very, very easy and very, very feasible. So this is the opportunity, and therefore, I think all of you who are looking at how you can support this, you are people who are in finance and investment and so on. There is a tremendous need for investment. It is no longer a risk as it was maybe 15 years ago. Today, with the growing economy, the growing demand, and the growing support that government is giving through multiple schemes, we are in a position not only to empower the MSMEs, but to make them extraordinarily successful.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. I think the message is very, very clear. You should not be job seeker, but job creator. I think this is the mantra sir has given to all of you. And innovation and technology aspects are most important for the startup. But startup is for the innovations. It is very clear. You cannot go and start. You have to come up with a new product if you want to establish in the market. And sir also told we are a third in world and it is growing. We have a unicorn, more than 100 unicorn with us. You see how the startup had come up. As a banker, as an investor, if you want to approach any banks, Any financial institutions, any venture capital, any, you can say, private equity investors, they are ready to give you.
Hmm.
Once of the why webinars that we have done for a startup, it was mentioned by the one investor that we seeing your qualification, your innovation, what you are doing, that is your qualification. Even they are giving you 100% of your finance requirement. I think this is a mantra, innovations. And when I'm seeing sir data
Hmm.
in TCS, when he joined in 1981 and about 21 that he was there. So what TCS in 91 and during driving the creation of the growth of the world class IT sector. At that time, 500 employees were there.
Hmm.
Like during its span, it is more than 7 lakhs staff. You see how much growth is there, and which is among the global top 3 IT companies. Consulting services of the world. You see who is the person who is addressing you. So I think you must take advantage of his presence. If any doubt from your side, any queries from your side, I think it is opportunity for you to talk to him. So he also talked about the technology innovators. That is a for startup. It is important. They are under a one roof. They are giving our type of facility. I was addressing in Bhubaneswar, so one of the trade associations where they have mentioned that Odisha government has come out with a separate building for innovators where they are helping the startup. Similarly, some states are also there. Even the bankers are also coming up very clearly. Some banks are open a startup branches also to help the branches. Sir, I will come back to you. I think there were so many things. If I talk to you, we will go on talking to you. Now
Yeah.
I'm coming to another, our learned professor, madam. Uh, yeah, CA Shipra Rungta is a founder, Profilex consultant, and consulting CFO to MSME, end-to-end business consultancy services to MSME with 15 years experience, preparing DPR, draft project reports for the SME sector. So, madam, you know that SME is a backbone of the country, backbone of the economy. As sir also mentioned, they are playing very important role for the creation of the employment and also export and contributing to the GDP of the country. So whether what challenges you feel small business typically face in availing the trade finance? Because once Asia Development Bank, they have made a study. It is said that about 50 or 60% application are being declined and they are not getting business. Even micro sector, which constitute about 95-96% of the SME sector, they are deprived of the money and still money lenders are there who is helping these people and charging exorbitant rate of interest. Even by co-lending, other thing, Reserve Bank has come out, something is happening. Have any view on that, madam? You have such experience, you are preparing a TPR, you are preparing everything. Give your thought. Let me should be practical. Instead, that's like sir was talking very practical things. So from his heart, he was talking to entrepreneurs. So what do you feel? How, what are the challenges SME sector facing to get a trade finance? Why they are not getting it? Another question what I want to ask to you. In a union budget, they have also mentioned assessment model should be drafted by the bank themselves instead of asking the SME sector. Have any view on that, madam? Madam Shilpa. Shilpa, madam, please give your thoughts.
Good evening, Gupta sir. First of all, thank you so much for giving me a chance and share the podium with such an eminent personality, Ramanan sir. And yes, throughout my career, somewhere I was following him because obviously he is supposed to be a mentor of startup people. And I just try my level best, my knowledge to just help these startup people raise the finance, raise those funds, come out of this liquidity issues and everything. So as you said, there should be something from my heart. So there are a few lines, which could be, which easily, summarize what I really feel. So it's in the world of trade where dreams take flight. SMEs seek support to shine ever bright. With trade finance as their guiding light, they transform aspirations into futures so bright. Empowered to grow, they break every shore, unlocking potentials and creating so much more. So, with this, I would just like to start whatever I have and as an experience in this webinar. First of all, the challenges of SMEs, they are so much so multifaceted and they are so much so intertwined with the broader economic factors and institutional practices that it is really difficult to actually barricade which factor or which challenge is reason behind what. So they are so much so it is like a grapevine wherein we don't understand where is the start and where is the end. It is intertwined with each other. First and foremost, if I say about the challenges, first is limited access to credit. This is what I feel is the first and foremost challenge which every SME is facing. Now, just to elaborate it with a little more data, around 60% of MSMEs in developing countries, they don't have adequate access to financing, and according this is all as per data of World Bank. Now, in developing countries, 60% already they don't know about how financing is to be done, how it is to be, availed. Now, in India, if we go about with the report of RBI, around 40% of MSMEs, they don't have knowledge of formal credit only. They are just wandering here and there, give us loan, give us money, and we will start. So this is the ground reality which I have seen throughout my career as a practical problem as well. So now what happens is this limitation, it stems from inadequate credit histories and insufficient collateral. Now, when you said why SMEs they are not getting fund, the first and foremost thing is that they don't have credit histories. They don't have adequate collateral to support. Now, if I talk about the policies or probably all the plans which are made, they are made with some specific which is some specific, I would say, parameters which take into consideration the economy also and the MSME sector also. But what MSME they are knowledge or they know is that everything is given free of cost. So here the problem starts that nothing is free of cost. You have to give at least little amount as a collateral because you need to understand that your risk taking capacity is little low. You have to give that support to the bank so that they can give you that fund. The second challenge is high collateral requirements. Now, as we know, the risk is very high with MSME people. Why? Because mostly in MSME, we have startups or let's say greenfield and brownfield projects are there. Now, if I say about this, I have negotiated with banks wherein they charge up to a maximum of 200% of the loan amount. Now, if a person has 200% of loan amount as collateral, why he would require that loan amount? So this is again a very, very, very important challenge which one has to take into consideration that there are high collateral requirements from the banks. Why? Because the risk of MSMEs they are little high. Now, third, if we come to it is complex documentation and regulatory compliance. Whenever the bank starts the due diligence process. The first and foremost is give all the papers. There is a big form which is to be filled and there are 25 to 30 points wherein they require documents. Now, when so much of documents are required, the MSME segment or the person who is just started off a business or who is, is at a very small level, for him it is very, very cumbersome to make, all these compliances and all these due diligence. There are people who have not even filed their income tax returns and they want to start a business. Ramanand sir said that the school children and all, they are now slowly and steadily, they are being developed to be more into, entrepreneur rather than having that set of mindset of job, which is like the age old legacy of India, that job is best, it is secure. But the vision of government is very clear. They want to develop entrepreneurs. But what about the ground level? Wherein you require income tax returns, you require documentation, you require good collateral, you require each and everything. So at execution level, it is not sinking in with the policies. Then it comes to higher interest rate. If we talk about MSMEs and if we talk about large scale, in large scale, the base rate and the spread is always on the risk factor. The spread is very less. So if a large scale industry it is getting loan of somewhere around, the entire loan will conform to somewhere around 10%, the MSME would be charged 9% plus spread of around 4 to 5%. So 12 to 13% is minimum rate of interest which every MSME has to incur that expense. So this is a very, very, very grave challenge. Then it comes to insufficient financial literacy, which is, yes, the owners of MSME, they don't have financial literacy to navigate how should they accommodate their financial requirements. They hardly understand what is trade finance, what is LC, what is LAP, what is working capital loan, which the loan can be taken in, some few stages. The entire loan need not to be taken in one go. So this literacy needs to be there in MSME before they could actually know that yes, government is there standing with them. I'm closely working with renewable industry, renewable energy, wherein government has given such a good amount of subsidy to the MSME segment. But they have to comply few things. Now the people, they don't know what the compliance has to be done. All they know is the subsidy is there. So this gap of demand and supply, I would say government is ready, but the people, they don't know how to take it. So that is a very, very big challenge, and this SWOT analysis has to be done before we think about any kind of trade financing to MSME segment. Then it comes to, let's say, some other like economic volatility and market fluctuations. Now, if we talk about World Bank Forum report, 45% of MSMEs, they are always under economic uncertainty. Why? Because there are significant barriers, let's say, of securing finance, or let's say there is just one person who doesn't have that knowledge of business, the legacy is not there. So there are so much of risk taking, the so much of volatility that 45% of MSMEs, they are always under risk area. So this is again a very, very big challenge. Then if government has given 100 products for the financing, only 30 products are being informed to MSMEs. Rest 70% are not being informed to the MSME. And this is what is actually the so-called institutions and all, they keep it reserved. The 30 products which are, let's say, on a very, very comfort area, which is very well easy for them to take over, only those are being informed to the people. Then what about the other 70, which is already the government says that we are ready to give you, but then nobody is telling MSME people that this should be done. This is something for you. So this is again a very big challenge at the ground level, wherein policies are at a higher up, and the execution level is on the base of the pyramid. What about the middle part of the pyramid? This vacuum needs to be punctured now. This is all my little take of what challenges I feel working on the base level.
Very important, madam. Your challenges, I think you summarize in a different manner, I think, for rate of interest to the other aspects. But you feel that e-commerce export is also playing very important role now. Although India is lacking about 2 billion export under e-commerce, when we are talking about China adding more than 350 billions, that means we are lacking. Still, we are feeling that by 2030, it may touch into 315 billion as it is anticipated. So what do you feel that? What type of incentive government should provide beside the production link incentives? Whether you feel that production link incentive should be a separate for the SME sector? Have any view on that aspect? Please.
Yes, sir. Gupta sir, I would strongly second, and I'm always in support of separate PLI scheme for MSMEs. Now, I have a very, I would say, all my support and everything, they have a very strong ground, or I would say foundation, based on which I say I strongly support. First of all, government of India, it is all going for local manufacturing, Atmanirbhar Bharat, local for vocal, and all these things now are there. For this, we need to have separate PLI. Why? Because right now, whatever PLI schemes are there, they are all imbibed for all the manufacturing sectors. They can be large also, they can be MSME segment also. Now, out of this entire, let's say, basket, 2,600 crores approximately was given to MSME sector. And roughly, if I'm not wrong, since last few years, if I'm tracking right, it's approximately 180 to 200 MSMEs which have actually benefited from these schemes. But what about the other part? It is all being taken up by the large segment. Why? Because the basket is for common. It is for all the people who are there in manufacturing sector. But if we have separate for MSME, the first thing would be it would ramp up the production and investment in technology, fostering local manufacturing capabilities. Because, as already Ramanan said, the backbone is somewhere MSME only. And what we are doing is we are not strengthening our backbone first. So how will the body stand? Definitely it would collapse. Secondly, job creation. If we, I tracked the story of China, how beautifully they support their MSMEs. If India takes that thing, if India takes little part of also of the Chinese model, it would be great for us. Why? We should have specific sector wise, I would say, PLIs for all the MSMEs, like renewable energy should be separate, white goods segment should be separate, manufacturing should be separate. There are some local handicrafts, some textile and all, which are little more risky, I would say, riskier than the other ones. They should have separate schemes. All the scheme should be specifically for each and every segment, because whatever is required for renewable energy is not required for white goods, because that is not so much so risky. And renewable energy, it is just a baby right now. It hardly knows how to walk also. Similarly, if we talk about handicrafts, handicraft is riskier. Why? Because it is a small niche which is to be catered. So how can we have single incentives plan for all the industries running in India? Secondly, job creation, if we talk about, around 30% of India's GDP and 110 million jobs are created by MSMEs. But in China, as against that, 60% of GDP is contributed by MSMEs. Now just see, there is a gap of 30% between India and China. So that is why we always say China is far ahead of us. Why? Because they have already strengthened their backbone, wherein we are still lacking over there. Third, global competitiveness. Yes, if there is a separate PLI, global competitiveness would be far ahead as compared to 80-20 rule, which is right now existing in the market. The 80% is taken up by the sharks, I would say, the big, large industries, and 20% is for the MSMEs, which is more than 60% of Indian economy. Now, as I already told, customization of benefits, it is a mandate. Why? Because then only each and every sector would be taken care of. Now, just to have a quick conclusion of all these things, PLI scheme for MSME, it should be modeled for a successful international example like China, as I already told you, wherein China has PLI, which is clubbed up with employment linked incentive structure. Because in India, if one MSME collapses, somewhere around, let's say, 30% of the job in the country, it will collapse. There would be more 30% more people who would be unemployed. So PLI should be linked with employment linked incentive. This is what I feel in person. Secondly, the approach should always align with government's vision of inclusive economic growth and a resilient manufacturing sector, ultimately positioning India as global manufacturing hub, which now is, since last 15 years I'm tracking, which is now a fora of the government. Atmanirbhar Bharat, vocal for local. So if we have a separate PLI scheme, definitely things would change.
Very nice, madam. But you advocated for a separate scheme for the production link. What we are talking about, it can be.
This is all what I am working, and I'm just trying to give a practical.
That's why we are talking in a practical aspect, madam. Thank you very much. I may come back to you again. Now I'm coming to Mr. Rahul Goyal.
Thank you.
Mr. Rahul, he is a RSM in Access Finance Limited, and he is a result-driven senior level professional, strategic sale management, and business development. Mr. Goyal,
Thank you, sir. Thank you for
give
giving us
your
this
thoughts,
opportunity to speak out.
because
Thank
I
you,
think
sir.
you are mainly dealing with the mortgages. That is the
Yes,
major
sir.
aspects. Because we are a
Hmm.
practical here. We just want the practical things. And you are doing BL also.
Absolutely, sir.
So you are in a
Yes,
business.
sir. Absolutely.
So in this context, how you can help the exporters? Whether the exporter can get a loan against the property from you, and if it's a personal property, can they can avail the loan to a company, because repayment is from the company, because they want to take a loan from the company. Because that respect, how you want to help to, because
Absolutely,
people,
absolutely
entrepreneurs
right,
are
sir.
listening to you. So just I want to have a practical thing, how you can be help to the entrepreneurs who are doing export or who are doing SME sector. So Mr. Goyal, please.
Thank you. Sir, we are at Axis Finance Limited, which is a subsidiary of Axis Bank itself. And this is particularly a non-banking financial corporation. So here in Axis Finance, as ma'am has mentioned that when anybody goes for a raise funding into MSME sector, so they need lots of documents, lot of document checklists. They ask for a documentation part to give us a loan. But here at Axis Finance in NBFC, we are asking for a very less documentation. There are two important factors which is considered to give a loan to any MSME sector. We see cash flow first, and second, we see collateral. So, if we just ask for a 3-year financials just to assess the customer, what kind of loan customer is asking for, and how much repayment is he will be enough to pay for. So there are two things. So the collateral part we can consider for the any collateral, which can be residential, which can be commercial, which can be industrial, which can be uh, you know uh, warehouse property. Any of the collateral we can look into. So if the coming person that giving us a residential property, so we can consider the loan up to 75%, 7 to 75% of the market value of that residential property. And the best part is that property can be in the name of his real brother, his real sister, his mother or her father, or immediate family members.
That means that property, if you're taking of the director or a brother, what consideration will be there? Because you are giving advance to a firm, to a company, where he had no interest at all. So how you consider the loan against that property?
Pardon, sir, I didn't get your question correctly.
The question is, if I am there, I am not a director of the company. I have no consideration for the company. I am not a partner, or I am not a, you can say, shareholder. Anything is not there. Still, I want to give you some security against that. You have to sanction the loan to the a party. Okay.
So here in the compliance, if we talk about partnership firm or promoter firm, partnership firm.
Okay.
So we can consider the property of we can consider the property of anyone's partner, spouse, or mother or father name, immediate relation. But in private limited company, if the property is having on company name, so we would be having on 100% shareholding. Uh, and there are scenarios where there are two directors and the directors are husband and wife only. Yeah, father and son only. So if there are other stakeholders, so still we can manage to have the property of the one director's immediate family. So that is structuring we can manage to give a loan to MSME sector specifically.
So to be more specific, if any third party or property, you can give a loan to a company. Okay, I'm clear?
Third party, I must mention that third party. Uh, we're not here. If we are talking about that, the director must be in a blood relation with that third collateral, third party. So that is not third party. It must be on a blood relation. Then only compliance gets fulfilled.
Whether you can give a loan to the firm, then they are a blood relation or something with you.
Yes,
So you can. And what
yes,
type
very much,
rate
very
of
much.
interest you are charging for SME sector?
Sir, here we are charging for 11%, 11 to 12%, depending on property. And we have a unsecured loan as well. If there is a client, if there is a MSME client who's having completed for 3 years in a business and is asking for an unsecured loan. So we can also provide unsecured loan up to 20 lakhs at a rate of interest of 17 to 18%, and secured, which is against property, we can go up to 11 to 12%.
Okay. That means market value is the main consideration for you or for any.
Mm, absolutely. Market value is the main consideration.
That means that will be a collateral, that will be a primary security for you because
Yes,
you are giving a loan against the property. That should
absolutely
not
right, sir.
be, that should be a collateral or it should be a primary security for you.
Yes.
It is a primary
And
security.
sir, basically, cash flows and collateral is the primary security. We would be having only collateral as the primary security, and the customer cash flows to serving that loans repayment is
Correct.
more important as well
I agree.
aspect.
I agree. Anything
Mm.
other you can mention for the SME sector? What you mentioned about the clean loan, you also providing up to 20 lakhs rupees, and beside the mortgage loan against property. Any other scheme is available with your this, financial institutions for supporting the SME sector? Besides this, there are two things are there: loan against property
S-
and clean loan. Any other thing?
Sir,
Any
sir,
other product?
basically, we don't have any other product. Reason being that we need a cash flow to serve the EMI and the collateral.
I
So
am
there are
I'm,
banks
I'm,
which are
let,
which.
let I should directly ask you the question because I have a cash flow. I have no collateral security with me. So I want to
So, sir,
give
you
you
can,
charge.
in that scenario, you can opt for a unsecured business loan, but that would not be that much amount but that would be not too much amount, sir.
Nice, nice. Thank you very much. I think you are very clear in your thoughts. What you are talking, and you are, I think, fully control over the subject. I'm thankful to Mr. Rahul. I think we are well taken for that. Now I'm coming to Shri again, our boss.
Thank you.
Sir, there is one question for you, sir. That whether it, I think question is not important, like it's still he asked something. So I want your view, sir. Can you change the behavior of government authority who think negatively? What he mentioning like that,
Mhm.
and the SME sector and startup. So
So,
I have to do, sir, on that because he asked the question, so I have to. You have
question,
to answer it.
it's a question. So, I think I just want to share that my experience of the government has been, I would say, very positive from the point of view of two things. I come from the private sector. I
Right.
actually joined TCS in 81, as you said. I have been working for the corporate organizations for TCS and then for CMC. And it was very interesting. When I was in TCS, it was purely private. CMC was acquired by TCS, and CMC was a government organization, Government of India organization, a public sector organization, which was considered to be a Navaratna, one of the jewels of the Indian public sector crown at that time. And that acquisition uh, gave me a lot of exposure into how public sector organizations work and what is the potential of unlocking the creative potential of a public sector organization. In fact, most of our public sector organizations which are there, like BEL and BHEL, CMC, NIC, ISRO, Defense, LRD, they're all fantastic organizations because there is a lot of innovation that is happening, very dedicated set of employees who work there. But also the fact is that they work on funding provided by the government. So there is a lot of bureaucratic procedures that one has to follow, and that sometimes stifles them. But at the same time, there seems to be, this is also an inheritance of what has happened from the time we have got independence. It was all a whole lot of procedures and bureaucracy that was there, introduced by the English, I would say, during the time when our organizations were getting formed and public sector was getting formed.
Right.
And then I moved into the government in a full capacity as the additional secretary. What I find that the current government is very keen on ensuring that you remove the bottlenecks for the SME sector, the MSME sector, for startups. If you see over the last 6-7 years, there are 3 or 4 parameters which we should look at. The Global Innovation Index of India has gone up from a position of 81 in 2017 to a position of 39. That's a fantastic advancement just in the period of 6-7 years. And when we talk of Global Innovation Index, it is not just based upon how many incubators or how many startups are there. That is not a measure. The measure of Global Innovation Index is on a set of parameters where every state has to report key parameters related to education, related to hygiene, related to healthcare, related to employment, and so on and so forth. And it is a measurement of all of that and how innovation has played a role in bettering that. That is how the Global Innovation Index is measured at an international level. And so it's a very exacting process. And the fact that we are now here is a great thing. The second thing is, because of Digital India, Startup India, Invest India, Make in India initiatives, our ease of doing business from our position has gone from 162 to 62 today. So, while we complain a lot about government and say it's very bureaucratic and so on, I also think that there is a gap in the private sector government interaction and trust that needs to be beefed up within the country. At the end of the day, like all the examples that Shipra ma'am gave about, these are some of the challenges. I think there needs to be a dialogue, a platform for an open dialogue. Startup India, for example, every year they have been coming up with how do you ease. There was this issue of taxation that was resolved. There is an issue of one-stop shop so that you make the process of registration very easy. You see the computerization initiatives of MCA, which has made so simple, filing returns and so on. So there are many things that are happening, but at the same time, you also need to know how to interact with the government and how to give suggestions in crucial bodies. Like what you're doing is now collecting a whole lot of ideas from different people saying, these are the challenges. So there should be a representation of that and an integration of that in the policy making of the government. And I have not seen any unwillingness on the government part to consider good ideas and good propositions.
Yeah, they are very positive. The government is taking a very initiative. Now this budget, you see how much for SME sector the government has provided. They told the banker, don't go, or don't ask any information from the SME sector. Prepare yourself. From your digital platform, you collect the information. From the account statement, you collect it. And now the banker is coming on the cash flow lending. They are not asking for any asset-based lending.
Correct.
Previously, they asked.
I also think a lot of people are not aware of many government schemes, and therefore they are not utilizing it.
Awareness is not there. I agree with
Awareness is not there.
you.
So, platforms like yours, which is educating the people and educating MSMEs, are very important, and we should leverage the digital platform for communicating more and more.
Very nice, sir. So, lastly, sir, I will request you to have a one advice to our listeners, sir. I think that we are interested that what advice you can give them, sir, in a few words to our entrepreneurs.
And no, I don't want to give an advice, but I do want to share that if there has been any moment in the history of our country, the evolution of our country, this is the time for us to take leadership in the global economy. This is the time. No other time, I think, has been as good as what we have right now. Just look at the fact that the rest of the countries across the world are struggling still with recession or with a slow growing economy. And we are growing at 7 to 8%, a country of our size, right? That is a very positive indication. Number two, we are becoming the knowledge capital, one of the knowledge capitals of the world. And we are a knowledge-based economy. Now, of course, China has gone ahead because of a manufacturing-based economy and so on. But in the years ahead, knowledge-based economy is going to become more and more important as AI and all of these things are going to automate a lot of stuff. Anything that is mechanical, that is repetitive will be automated by AI, and therefore you're going to have lesser and lesser people doing things which are mechanical in nature. So what we need to do is take advantage of the fact that we are the knowledge capital and make sure that we are using all of that to become more innovative, more entrepreneurial, and come up with better solutions for tomorrow. And the third is, I really feel while the export market for India potential is great, the inside potential, the inner market for India is also very big. And if we are able to address the challenges of this market, it provides us a ready platform for growth, and then you can continue on your export journeys outside.
Very nice. You should be a joke creator, not a joke seeker.
Correct.
Yes, Sipra madam, have any word from you?
Um,
Sipra ji.
Bilkul. I can't. I'm not that experienced like Ramanand sir who can even suggest anything. I know I'm not at that level. I've just started my journey. But all I can say is that yes, there are challenges, there are gaps, but I have seen these gaps being shortened. I am myself a eyewitness that vacuum which I said that middle in the entire triangular pyramid, if I say that middle level has been punctured because like for example in renewable energy, because as I told you right now I'm closely working in this area a lot apart from all the other MSMEs. So now the government has started that Govardhan platform is there. The officials of Govardhan, they do take every month state-wise, they are taking a kind of webinar is there wherein all the stakeholders, including like finance people like me, the EPC turnkey contractors, the promoters, the developers, the government people, everyone are there on that platform. They discuss one-to-one and they have started bridging the gap. So all I can say is the things have started and yet the more has to be done. Specifically, I would say skill development and training initiatives need to be emphasized to a great extent, wherein launching comprehensive training sessions programs focus not only for e-commerce, I would say, but also for the internal trade first of all. As Ramanand said कि पहले हम अपने घर को संभाल लेते हैं, बाहर तो फिर हम कर ही लेंगे.
Right. Very good. पहले अपने घर को संभालिए फिर दूसरे.
बिल्कुल. So this is all what I can just conclude everything.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rahul, well, sir.
Yes, sir.
You can advise.
Sir, so here my submission and my opinion will be that at Axis Finance, that Ramanand sir has mentioned that people are not aware that so many schemes are available with the banks who are their project funding. So if there are entrepreneurs who have started the projects, there are banks facilities available who give the project funding. Here at Axis Finance, we are giving approx monthly 500 crore lending to MSME sector only, sir.
Oh.
So basically on cash flow and collateral base. So we are very much flexible. Once the project is completed, So I give you a short example. Like if there is a project and the person has availed a 10 crore loan. So for project funding, banks give him a loan for a shorter tenure. That the person has given a project report that my business viability, my cash flow will come in a 3 years. So bank has given him a loan for 7 years. So once the cash flow has started, so we can reschedule that loan to 15 years. So just to support that, his cash flow will be much relaxed in the coming years. So
In
this
long
kind of
term, you are
support,
financing. Long term, you
yes,
are giving that.
long term we are financing, sir.
Oh,
Absolutely right.
very nice, very nice. So thank you very much at the end, because we are thankful to all eminent speakers, especially Sri Ramanathan ji, who is, I think, mentor for us, who has given, spare his time and given a mantra that you should be a job creators. I think that mantra should be followed. And there is no dearth of the business. Export, anything is there, market is available. Only point is this startup. You have to start, you have to have innovation. Something should be innovative. I think that is a mantra. And Sipra madam also told very clearly what are the challenges faced by the SME sector, how it can be overcome for that. And Rahul also told they are giving a long-term financing. You can go and avail these people. So we are thankful to all my team members who are with me, Mr. Devesh Sharma and Mr. Ayush, Mr. Lokesh, Mr. Vishwas, Ankit Singh, and all other members who are on the screen. Actually, they are arranging these webinars. We are only coming for 1 hour or 2 hours. So whatever they are giving me feedback, we are telling everything to them. We are really, who the off the screen people, who is tirelessly working, calling for BD, they are calling the people, they are inviting the speakers, so everything they are managing. I think we are, from my core of my heart, as a director of the company, we are thankful to them for making every week such type of arrangement program. As a research in India, we are a merchant banker. We are giving education to the bankers also. And we are in solvency also. In all sectors of the financial market, we are research in India is there. We are also preparing DPR. And also we are conducting a technical economical viability study almost for all the banks. If any SME sector or any entrepreneur want to take any facility from us, please they can approach us for that. So I am thankful again to eminent speakers, to my team members for their cooperations. And I think today webinar will be proved to be a very excellent webinar under the advice of Sri Ramanathan sir, who is very busy man and so many organizations he is representing, and he's sparing time. So I'm thankful to him also for giving us his blessing. I feel that whenever I invite him, he will oblige us for future also. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.